We have YouTube Bizemag channel.
Okay.
So what I will do, if it is not going live, I am definitely going to upload these videos later on with captions and
I'm
with
getting a
links.
message which says this meeting is being live streamed. So that's
So
okay.
it was set. I don't know whether it will go because I cannot mutually see what is happening here.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we have good number. We can start as more people keep on joining.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or shall we wait for 2 minutes more? Maybe 3:50 we will start.
But
Actually, 4 we need to start. We have to wait till
that's what
4.
you said. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So we can definitely wait for another maybe 10 minutes.
Yes.
So Brigadier is here. Mr. Kandelwal is here.
So Mohit has been kind enough to join us. I just messaged her yesterday on LinkedIn that would you be talking upon what are the changes in taxes, and I'll switch on my video now.
I want to check, can you hear me? I've had a problem earlier in the last webinar. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Brigadier, you are audible. Thank you for joining. So we have Dr. Vigyan Verma from who is director IMT Nagpur. We have
Dr.
CA
Verma,
Mohit Khandelwal.
I'm a professor with IMT Ghaziabad. What
a
pleasure.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Good to see you.
Yes.
Sorry, carry on, ma'am.
Yeah. And we have Mr. Anil. Anilji, can you please switch on your video? You are Anil Gulati, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, absolutely right. Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity. I look forward to meeting the staff. Yeah.
He is retired defense officer.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Has been teaching MBA in MBA
That's right.
institutes for.
I was with Amity Business School, Manesar, Amity University later on. And my areas of interest are business communication, soft skills, and I specialize in training in 7 habits of highly effective people.
Well, there's another Stephen
ISTD too.
Stephen Covey in India.
7 habits of highly effective people. I think it's the ultimate book.
So that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Stephen Covey in India.
Actually, now you should upgrade to Atomic Habits because I also teach similarly. We have a lot in common, Anil sir. And from 7 habits of highly effective people, as what Dr. Verma is saying, Stephen Covey, I think, I told the students, here is the book on my pen drive, jisko chahiye le lo, and quite a few came. Yahan padhni hai, we've heard about this book.
Atomic Habits is a very good book.
Yes.
It's a very good book, if may I interrupt. Those who cannot actually develop habits, Atomic Habits is the best. You can learn, unlearn. But which habit to learn? I think 7 Habits is still the ultimate book on personal and interpersonal effectiveness. There's no substitute.
To be honest, I didn't like the 8th habit.
Through Atomic Habits.
The other book called The 8th Habit of Highly Successful, I didn't like that one much.
No. That was selling on the success of the previous.
Absolutely.
Which book we are speaking of now?
8th Habit.
8th Habit. 8th Habit is, the core theme there is you find your voice and let others find their voice. I think it requires a bit of patience. Otherwise, everything starts from. I guide my students for their career planning, wherein I say it starts with the need, your talent, your passion, and your conscience. Where they converge becomes your voice. Go in for that career and let others find their voice. I know it's a little not straightforward, but 7 habits is about effectiveness, and there is, you rise above.
True.
But then we have our choices.
I am typing my contact details in the chat box, not leaving it for Dr. Vanita to help us reconnect later. We have a lot in common, so many of us.
Sure.
And Mohit, why don't you tell us something? I'm also a master trainer with ICAI. I have just spoken at the national conferences all over the country. because your convocations are going on and the Sikasa, Nikasa, all that CA Students Association things are going on. So I'm being called everywhere. So I've just finished a circuit of 5 cities with the ICAI. You are based where, Mohit?
I am from Jaipur, sir.
Oh, I see. Jaipur. Jaipur branch chairman is Ashish Kandil.
Kuldeep Gupta. He's Kuldeep Gupta.
Okay. I don't
Have
remember
you-
very frankly.
Okay. Have you ever visited to Jaipur?
Oh, yes. I come there for Vipassana because I like the Jaipur Vipassana Center very much. So, Jaipur से आगे जाके है गालता जी की तरफ.
So basically, I am practicing CA.
So, you have no time. How have you taken out time for Dr. Vanita?
Because of Dr. Vanita.
So that's why I introduced him. It's kind of him to
Yes.
join us at the last minute. I belong to a family of CAs.
Okay.
Surrounded by CAs. And day before yesterday, I was attending a CA conference seminar here, which was organized by immediate previous ICI chairman, who is a family friend, and nobody has time. My own husband does not have time.
Budget time, CAs are in big demand by all TV channels. They call me every time. So I said, देखो, ये 2-3 CA के नाम दे रहा हूँ, इनको बुला लो, ये अच्छे बंदे हैं. सर वो इंग्लिश हिंदी दोनों में बोल पाएंगे. मैंने कहा बोल पाएंगे, तुम बुला लो, मैं पढ़ाता हूँ इनको कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स वगैरह. So budget time is definitely a time CAs are in demand.
Yes, so
Yeah,
every one of them said that we have this meeting, we have that meeting, all through the day we are busy. So I said, okay, let me find someone from my circle, and I found Mohit, who is a tax expert who works in, I think, direct and indirect tax both. Right, Mohit?
Yeah.
I'm
Why
just
don't you
waiting.
write our numbers in the chat box?
I put my number, Dr. Gwal.
विज्ञान वर्मा सर. ओके. मतलब आप जो है बिहार और बंगाल में पढ़े हुए हैं, तभी विज्ञान का विज्ञान हो गया है ये.
Absolutely. My father was so influenced by the Bengalis that
You see, when I teach language, I also teach English as a non-mother tongue language to the Middle East people when they come to India. So that is where I teach these Indian specialities, which are nobody's fault, but they are realities, all right.
बिल्कुल. तो अभी आप you teach full time at IMT Ghaziabad?
No. I have refused. I retired 8 years ago after my full service.
I see.
I was teaching earlier also, and my one condition was I will not take a job full time. So I teach about 2 days a week, and I teach executive MBA, MBS. I also do a lot of placement because I've been President Services Selection Board for the government, and I've done a lot of recruitment for MNCs in India.
Oh, wonderful.
In the civil sector, going all around IITs and all, largely engineers and the HR angle.
Where are you based? Delhi.
I am based in Delhi. So I do a lot of placement capsules for various universities, about 15-20 of them every year, so that people get like even for the CAs, one of the things I do is this. They have a capsule on the CVGDPI, and these words are very familiar to everybody in the academia.
True.
How to convert, I don't call it market yourself, how to become the best version of yourself. And it takes about 6 months to 1 year under guidance. And I have seen very good results. So I am called because they know, inko bula lo, ye students ki mehnat karwa denge. So that is how Mohit, even in the CA thing, some CC member heard me, I didn't know in Bhopal. तो खबर आई, सर आप कहाँ हैं? मैंने कहा मैं फ्लाइट पकड़ रहा हूँ, वापस दिल्ली जा रहा हूँ. सर आप कल भिलाई आ जाइएगा. मैंने कहा डैम इट, भिलाई is 4 hours from Bhopal. I am going back all the way to Delhi tomorrow to fly back. Sir, flight हम सब कर देंगे, आप आ जाइएगा. I said no. Day after is my grandson's birthday. He's 9th birthday. कहते सर परसों आ जाइएगा.
अच्छा.
I said done. So that's how I then went. Then I went from there to Jabalpur. I took 2 days with the OC there, MCS there. Then I went to Indore. I did FDP there. Quite good.
बिगर साहब मैं आपको आपका नंबर ले लिया मैंने. I will give
जी.
you a call. Maybe I want to discuss a few things with you.
नहीं नहीं, let's while they are ready to start, मैं आपको अभी मिस्ड कॉल मार देता हूँ. उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
99109487 Brian, right?
8097045216.
Right.
Now you can save this number and send me a WhatsApp message with your details.
All right.
And similarly, Mohit, I am going with you.
Okay, sir.
And I'll send you my card on the WhatsApp itself.
I have shared my number on chat group.
Yeah, I've seen that. अब आप मुझे WhatsApp पे call कर दो वापस, so that Mohit is 63755. नहीं मोहित, आपका एक डिजिट कम है. 2026.
He has sent
Next
again.
message में sir
20026. Got it.
So few panelists are driving, few are in a meeting. They said they will join as soon as they get free by 4, 5. We will start.
Your audience is waiting, so I would, you decide. I think your audience is waiting.
Right. So I will start exactly at 4.
Okay. We have 2 minutes more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mohit, call is going to you.
Yes, sir. Received.
Okay. So when you give me a WhatsApp message, अपना नाम वाम लिख देना, then I'll send you my card there.
Okay.
And
Sure.
Dr. Verma, definitely it will be a pleasure. And
We'll
Nagpur is the constituency of my boss, Gadkari ji.
बिल्कुल.
I was advisor with the National Highway Authority. So हम लोगों का काफी अभी भी I teach there at the Ministry of Surface Transport का जो training academy है. It is called IAHE, Indian Academy of Highway Engineers. So I teach there as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
मैं फोन करूंगा आपको.
अरे, it will be a pleasure. I love going around the country and because जब तक health चलती है तब तक ये कर रहे हैं.
बिल्कुल.
People ask me, मैंने कहा जब वाणी चली जाएगी तो किताब लिखना शुरू कर देंगे.
So वैसे I'm in practice since 2018. It's
Okay.
5 years now.
5 years, very good.
I am having my firm in Jaipur, K. Mohit and Company.
That's a वो खानदानी है या अपनी है?
नहीं, first time. मतलब हमारे घर में सिर्फ I am the only one.
You deserve a bravery award. मैं तो खुल के बोलता हूँ सबको. Any boy or girl who starts off without parental support, I know what it takes. I have seen at least so many. I know what it takes. Now we'll talk. Let us now focus on what Dr. Vanita has for us. It is exactly time.
We have 1 minute left, and on that note, I will continue saying that ICI has proposed new syllabus, new kind of examination guidelines. And as per that, on their website, it says there would be a negative marking in CA Inter and CA Final. As if it was not already, most popularly very difficult course. So I am pushing them. I have met few senior officials, though they have switched off their comments and emails about this feedback, that their negative marking or difficulty should be at the entrance level, not on the running course. Nowhere in India you have negative marking in a running course. And you are taking 40% student, you are taking 99% student. How they compete with each other? You are taking 20 lakh student at the entry, and then most of them drop out saying CA to बहुत difficult hai. So you take bright students at the entry, get them chance to pass CA Inter and CA Final. They should drop out only by choice, not because of the difficulty levels. Difficult तो bright students के लिए कुछ नहीं होता, किसी भी stream में हो.
Last week, I was having this discussion with the CC member who is in charge of this. He is the chairman BOS SSEB, Sushil Goyal. So very rightly they are aware and they are wanting to change this, what you said, wherein entry is easy, getting out is difficult. They want to reverse it And that ties up with what you are saying. Make the entry difficult, put negative thing there.
Right.
Once a person is in, it should facilitate that person to
See,
complete.
then the course should belong
So
to the
CC member
student.
responsible for this. SSCB
Right.
Student Skill Enrichment Board. They are fully cognizant of this reality. Last week I was speaking to him.
I have been pushing this through CC members almost, I think, for last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, since the time I
Okay.
came to know about it.
Okay.
Because you know, what does it mean? वो तो IIT में भी if you send 40% वाला student and 99 वाला per student, तो वो भी यही बोलेंगे IIT difficult होती है, MBBS भी difficult है, every course is difficult. Pass percentage अपने आप down हो जाती है. So why do a student should belong to CA course when he is pursuing through it? वो पास होगा फेल होगा उसका फियर फैक्टर नहीं होना चाहिए. पढ़ाई में बिलोंगिंगनेस नहीं आएगी, उसकी स्टडीज में बिलोंगिंगनेस नहीं आएगी, तो वो लर्निंग पे ज्यादा फोकस करेगा. So we should start with our program now.
Yeah.
I'll start with my introduction and then we will move from panelist to panelist as more panelists will join in. Greetings, my guest speakers and audience. I am Dr. Vanita Agarwal, founder and CEO of Bizemag Media, which is a marketing technology broadcast media, and we keep organizing events offline as well as virtual mode on contemporary issues. Today, the most significant topic all over the nation is the budget that was announced yesterday by Finance Minister. And we are here to discuss what is the new budget. Are there any changes? What would be the impact? What should have been there if something is missing? So I will start with my first guest speaker, Dr. Vigyan Verma, who is Director of IMT Nagpur. I will also request to give to him that please briefly introduce yourself to our audience and then tell us what changes do you find or funds allocation to the education sector and what impact would it make?
Thank you so much, Dr. Vanita, for giving me this an opportunity. It's so wonderful, so nice of you. My name is Vigyan Verma. I'm primarily an academician. I spent more than 2.5 decades in education. I started my career by teaching at XLRI Jamshedpur. Then for about 5-6 years, I worked as an investment banker for Morgan Stanley. And thereafter, I worked for a Canadian university called Carleton in Ottawa, taught there, taught at IMU Kozhikode. So I'm primarily an academician, but I've also spent some time in the financial services industry as an investment banker as such. So I have a nice and decent perspective. I remember when I was working for Morgan Stanley, one day before the budget, I used to be in Bombay. We will run to Delhi just to get the budget papers immediately after the announcements, because we needed to decipher, we needed to read between the lines, and we needed to see what the budget throws for an investment banker and corporate, which we can encash. So that's how we really got associated closely with the reading the budget between the lines as such. Let me admit, right in the beginning, ma'am, that the announcements made by the finance minister should not be faulted as a populist budget, for it did not throw subsidies or SOPs in the entire budget. It remained absolutely realistic, and it kind of addresses structural issues for almost all segments of the population, and has large number of great messages for large number of sectors as such. Now let's also not forget the fact that this being the post-pandemic budget, it has accepted, it had a lot of fiscal limitations, and therefore the budget all through, it nudges the private sector to rise up and show what they can do for India to make sure that the India, travels to the journey of being one of the developed nations by 2047. So there's a big role in the budget for the private sector also, and they will have to get up and then make sure that India rises up, and it grows. This is also the Amrit Kal budget. And we all know that none of the budget ever in any country has been a position to please everyone. Same is the case over here also. But there would always be skeptics and the critics in any budget anywhere in the world. But and there will always be a lot of discussion. So which is very, very healthy for a democratic country like India. And therefore we should also be open for discussions and deliberations as such. But I really feel that the budget is sincerely continuing the growth story. And some of the pillars of the budget, when I went through, I've not read the entire budget completely, in association with the finance bill, but some of the pillars of the budget, I feel that it is really throwing a lot of focus on what we call as the inclusive development. It's trying to reach the last mile, because we always have a lot of promises, but we can't reach the last mile. There's a lot of focus on infrastructure investment. It tries to unleash the potential in almost very many sectors, and it's focusing on green growth, because let's not forget the fact that the world is focusing on ESG, and that can only be driven by the demographic advantage which we have from the youth. So there's a lot of focus on the youth power, financial sector, and on the tech development. So, by and large, I really feel that it's a very nice, decent budget. Limitations are there. We'll talk about it later. But then, on the whole, it's been a wonderful announcement. Now, with regard to education per se, we all know that the COVID-19 and the lockdown for almost about 2.5 years severely impacted the Indian, especially the school-going children as such. Making them sit in front of a laptop or a computer for hours is really not possible. And because most of the time, the growth of kids actually happens outside the classroom when they play with their peers, and then they go for various kinds of activities. So after nearly 3 years of massive disruption caused by the pandemic, the country's education sector is now looking forward to a new era. And that's what the budget promises. Bridging the gap with the Indian education had to face because of the pandemic, and the expectations for the future will be critical, is going to be critical. And that's what the budget is focusing on. And let's also not forget the fact the world is also changing with regard to new systems, new technologies, and they are going to be a part of the education as such. Now, I'm focusing essentially from the school level children point of view as such. So the budget has a lot of focus on that. If you allow me to talk about some of them, I can do that right away. But the fact of the matter is, the education sector has received the highest ever allocation since independence of rupees 1.12 lakh crores. And a substantial part of that is going for school education, which is absolutely something really to be thought about. Because education is one enabling factor, which is going to be an enabling factor for the youth who will emerge to be the power for this nation as such, man. Over to you.
Yeah, you rightly said that this time a very high budget on education, but that is required also seeing the young population, which is to be educated and which is under the bracket of getting educated, is required. And to bring in the ed tech, the new technologies, the new smart classes, the new education policy implementation, this kind of budget is definitely required. Moving over to Brigadier Sanjay Agarwal. Since you have been security advisor, I would like you to emphasize on the defense budget this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you also want me to give an introduction of myself?
Yes, please. Brigadier Sanjay Agarwal, please introduce yourself to our audience first.
Okay, good evening, viewers. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, courtesy Dr. Vanita Agarwal. We are not related and I have never met her. Disclosure. So, very briefly, I have been the full-time advisor to the National Highway Authority of India, and that's a major part of my corporate exposure. I did 36 years in the Army as an officer, retired 8 years ago. I am currently a distinguished professor at SRM University, Chennai's NCR campus. I also teach at IMT Ghaziabad and various other institutes. I conduct motivation speaking all over the country and abroad. I also speak on geopolitical issues, India and abroad, including at NATO. I've also been the president of the Services Selection Board for the country, which selects young men and women to become officers in the Indian Army, Navy, and Air Force over an intensive 5-day selection process. So that's briefly about me. Yes, ma'am. Now your question.
So starting with the defense budget, because you have been security advisor at Ministry of Home Affairs, I would ask, what do you think about what is it right kind of allocation, fund allocation to the defense, and what would be the impact and how it would be utilized?
Okay, so when we look at the overall budget and then within that we look at the defense, you are aware of what percentages have been given to various heads, who has got what. Suffice to say that the union budget has given about 593,000 crores to the total defense budget. And within that, the capital expenditure is up from last year by 7%, because the numbers will not mean much to the viewers. What the viewers you are interested in, what is the change from last year? And by the way, very importantly, this budget includes defense pensions, and defense pensions includes pensions of civilians. Defense budget, I say again, includes pensions of civilians paid from the defense estimate, which means the entire AFHQ, Armed Forces Headquarters cadre, the entire DRDO, the Ministry of Defense with its various DGQA, and so many such arms. DGQA is Director General Quality Assurance. All this is paid for from defense budget. So that is that. So capital expenditure is up 7%. Revenue expenditure is up 16%. Not a healthy trend. We would like more to go up in capital expenditure, but revenue expenditure is growing, and that is why the Agnipath concept has come in. I'll just speak another sentence about it when I come to that. Defense pensions have gone up by 15%, the allocations we are talking about, and the Ministry of Defense civil expenditure has gone up 13%. Overall, the total budget for the defense has gone up 13%. Now, within this defense budget, some of you would be wondering, how much has the Army, Navy, and Air Force got? So, out of the total capital expenditure of 162,600 crores, 23%, which is less than 1/4, comes to the Army, which manpower-wise is the biggest. The Navy gets 32%, which is almost 1/3, and the Air Force gets 35%, which is a little more than 1/3. And research and development, inspection, technology development, all that gets a meager 10%. So the key takeaways here are the fact that within the three services, the Navy and the Air Force get about 1/3, the Army gets 1/4, and the 10% only is for R&D. And this is my observation across the union budget, that the allocations for R&D, except a bright spark where money has been allocated for agri-tech startups, that is a bright spot. But other than that, I find I could not see R&D allocations to be as high as one would have wanted them. Defense is one proof. Next point on the defense budget is that a positive thing is that with bulk of our people being between the 12 to 15 lakh slab now, there, because of the new tax regime, etc., they would pay only 20% tax. So that is from our user angle. Also from the direct taxation angle, the Agnipath Scheme 1, the payments received from the Agnipath corpus by that Agniveer, that young man or woman who will join for 4 years, this is proposed to be exempt from tax. So that corpus, that kitty would be intact in that person's hands. And of course, you are aware that this Agnipath scheme, though it was never spoken about on the finance issue, people in the know are very clear that it is the prime mover behind this scheme has been the financial motive. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigadier Agarwal. You have really enlightened us on the defense budget. What are the different schemes? Because defense generally is untouched from common people. It's a very far off thing, except for, yes, we do have respect. We do understand sometimes when some events happen and we watch it on news or in cinema. But it's very important to know from a person who is directly related to defense in such a deep manner. Moving on to Mohit Khandelwal, who is a chartered accountant and runs his own company. Mohit, please introduce yourself. And, for common person, everybody sticks glues to the TV screen when budget is announced, whether he's a finance person or not. Myself, I belong to science and technology sector, and my finance information is almost, you can say, on 0 to 10, 1. Okay. So that's my understanding of finance and budget and economy. I am slowly learning, trying to slowly learn. So for me, main thing is, am I saving on tax? Right? How this budget, more or less, it is about taxation, about whether our income become taxable below a slab or above a slab. So I would like you to put light on, because I understand there has been some changes in the tax slab structure this time. How would it affect a homemaker, first thing, a homemaker woman, a person who is lower income strata but files an income tax return, and for startups?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to present in this forum. Let me introduce myself. My name is Mohit Khandelwal. I am qualified chartered accountant. I am currently in practice. I am having my office in Jaipur. Coming up to your question, yeah, there is a slight change in the slab rate this year, but there is no change in the old regime. The only changes are there in the new regime. According to new regime, if a person is earning 7 lakhs, up to 7 lakhs, then he is not required to pay any tax, as he will get rebate. So government wants that the person in India should shift from investment to new regime, where they are not allowed to invest in any ATC direction or LIC mutual funds. They want that they should shift from old regime to new regime.
So
Firstly, and
I'll interrupt here. What do you mean by old regime and new regime? So what does it mean?
okay, let me tell you, the Ministry of Government provides two regime. Person can opt either old regime or new regime.
Okay.
There is a difference in slab rate. According to old regime, if you are earning up to 2,50,000, then you are not supposed to pay any tax. If you are earning between 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs, you are supposed to pay 5% of tax, which comes to 12,500. But according to Section 87A of Income Tax Act 1961, the government gives you a rebate of 12,500. So we can say that if a person is earning up to 5 lakhs, then he is also not required to pay any tax, because he will get the benefit of rebate. If he is earning above 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, then he is supposed to pay tax at the rate 20%. And if he is earning more than 10 lakhs, then he is supposed to pay tax at the rate 30%. This is the old regime. And but government last financial year, the government has introduced new regime also. According to that new regime, there are few changes this year. In this, up to 3 lakhs, if you are opting for new regime, then up to 3 lakhs you are exempted from tax. If you are earning from 3 lakhs to 6 lakhs, then you are supposed to pay 5% tax rate. If you are earning from 6 lakhs to 9 lakhs, you are supposed to pay 10%. From 9 to 12, you are supposed to pay 15. From 12 to 15, you are supposed to pay 20. And above 15 lakhs, you are supposed to pay 30%. But here what we get is, in this budget, if you are earning up to 7 lakhs and you have opted for new regime, then also you will be get benefited of Section 87A, which is rebate under Section 87A as per Income Tax Act. So there will be saving of around 15,000 if you opt for new regime. Every year, individual salaried person, they have to opt whether they want to pay tax as per old regime or new regime. But from next financial year, we have to, if we are opting old regime, then we do not have to disclose it in while filing the ITR. But from the next financial year, if you are opting for old regime, then you have to disclose it. This is
Okay.
basically.
So may I interrupt here to clarify this? What Mohit has said is absolutely right. But dear viewers, For you, what it means is, earlier you had a choice, you still have a choice, but now the default is the new regime. If you have to go to the old regime, there is a small form which you or your CA will fill up for you. But the default setting now from financial year 23-24, assessment year 24-25, is that the default setting is new regime, but it is not forcing you. You can still stay on old regime. However, it is only for those who can leverage the various rebates, PPF, etc. They will want to stay on the old regime. The government is incentivizing move to new regime. Thank you.
This year's government has also given a standard direction to person who are opting new regime. This is the new updation in this regime. Previously, all those person who are opting for new regime are not supposed to take the standard direction of 50,000. But for this financial year 2023-24, they are supposed to take the standard direction of 50,000. But if the gross total income is above 15 lakhs 50,000, then he will be given a benefit of 52,500. This is the nice step. If someone opts for new regime, then he will be get benefited of a standard deduction, which may vary from 50,000 to 52,500 depending on his income.
Okay, Mohit, that's really clarifying the doubts. Like I am a completely common person without any finance knowledge, though I am surrounded by so many who are working in finance and accounts because they are busy with themselves. And I'm taken, my income and my accounts, balance sheets are taken care of by them. So generally they say you relax and we will take care. But this is very good for our viewers also. And thank you, Brigadier Agarwal, for further clarifying that now government is basically encouraging to go to the new regime, but with an option that yes, you can stay on old regime and your CA would be able to tell you which is more beneficial for you to stay on. We have Anilji, would you like to? He said, I will be listener to all the viewers. Anilji, would you like to say something from your part? What do you think about in general about this budget or any specific? Your voice is not there. Please unmute.
Thanks for this opportunity. So I'll go to the two speakers, starting with the latest, Mohit. Old and new, I understand quite all right, and by default, etc. is fine. There was some figure given. 50,000 standard deduction is applicable for both. Am I right? The second part is what I invest in PPF, 1.5 is the limit, is applicable only for the old system. Suppose I don't have any saving. My understanding is it'll be correct on my part to shift to the new system, which is in many cases by default. So there was some figure quoted that in case you can get exemption up to the tune of 3.24 or 3.74 lakh or something, then you quit. Otherwise, new is beneficial for others. A little more on this, Mohitji. Yeah.
So I can't hear you properly. Can you please repeat
My
it?
question is,